Welcome back to Medicated and Motivated. Welcome back to Medicated and Motivated. Back to Medicated and Motivated. Welcome back to Medicated and Motivated. Man, I haven't said that in like 3 weeks. Welcome back to Medicated and Motivated. If you have, welcome back to Medicated and Motivated. To the birthday edition of Medicated and Motivated. Welcome back. It is time for Medicated and Motivated. Welcome back to Medicated and Motivated. Welcome to Medicated and Motivated. Welcome back to Medicated and Motivated. This is a series where I talk about the medications on the ambulance so the patients aren't scared to receive them, the providers aren't scared to give them, and everyone's happy. My name is Ashlyn, and welcome to the Medicated and Motivated podcast. If you do not know me, if you don't know my face, my name is Ashlyn. Like I said, I am a full-time paramedic, and I am most known over on TikTok. I have been posting for about 2 to 3 years now. I started as a paramedic student and then worked my way up making videos about being a brand new paramedic. And I kind of just gained and built this community over on TikTok of all these EMS providers talking about the real and raw lifestyle of what it's like being an EMS provider. And as of this morning, we have this beautiful community of 150,000 followers. The thought of this podcast has been about 2 to 3 years in the making. Ever since I'd started discovering podcasts, especially EMS and medical podcasts, the thought of just sitting down and talking is what I've wanted to do. But whenever I put out content, like TikTok, it may take me 2 to 3 days to post a video. I want to make sure it's high quality content. And sometimes it's really hard to get that high quality content. I've been in multimedia for about 6 years now. Video editing is my wheelhouse. I've never done audio editing before, so a podcast was a really intimidating idea. I had no idea what I was getting into, and an insanely huge shout out to EMS 2020, Mike, and Alert Medic 1, because they were so helpful in all of these podcast tips. So after 2 years of mulling over the idea of a podcast, what really made me pull the trigger on it was when I went to Crash and Learn this year, and I met so many of you. I was recognized and I met so many of the people that have supported me for so long. And I met some of my biggest inspirations in the EMS community. It made me realize there's literally no better time than now because EMS is just becoming this ever-growing career and people are actively speaking out about the change we want in the career. My whole idea for this podcast is I don't want it to be education-oriented. I want this podcast to be a very chill, laid back, let's sit down and let's talk. Let's talk about anything EMS related. Let's talk about school, what it's like going to work, what ticks us off about work, what are the things we want to see in EMS within the next 5 years. I want this to be a very safe space that people can come to, listen, and just vent about their feelings about this career. I want this to have a very off-duty type of vibe. I don't want it to be professional. I don't want it to be business cash. I want this to be laid back and comfortable. I plan on having so many people on here. A lot of people you're going to recognize, some people you may not, but I know you're going to love them no matter what. And then just me. Me sitting here in my room blabbing about EMS and all of the crappy, the amazing, and the things that need to change in our career. I may sprinkle in some educational content here and there, but truly I don't want this to be an educational podcast. I want this to just be a talk, a sit down, chit chat, grab yourself a drink, put me on your drive to work or drive home from work, and let's relax together. Sometimes I find myself, I love all the EMS podcasts out there, do not get me wrong, but there are some times I don't want to sit down on my way home or on my way to work, and I don't want to listen about protocols. I don't want to listen to educational stuff. I don't want to listen to calls. I want to just sit there and talk and get all my feelings out about the job I'm about to walk into. That's the type of vibe that I want for this show. This episode is going to be short. I'm sorry. I just wanted it to be the intro video. Really get the point across of what this show is going to be and what you have to look forward to. But the last thing I do want to touch on is the story behind the name Medicated and Motivated, because if you don't follow me on TikTok, you're not going to know what the heck's going on. I do, however, recommend that you follow me on TikTok because I am very active over there. I'm also very active on Instagram, and this podcast will be posted to YouTube as well. So if you're not a podcast girl, if you're not a listen girl, you're a watch girl, trust me, I'm both. The podcasts that have videos have my heart. I love them. And that's why I wanted to make this a video podcast as well. All of it's going to be in the show notes or in the description below. You can go find any of my social medias. All of it's going to be linked. But the origin story behind Medicated and Motivated. 3 years ago when I started posting on TikTok, I will spare you the details of the sob story of my upbringing into this career. That'll be a whole episode in itself. Trust me, you're going to want to grab a drink for that video, grab some snacks and get comfy. That's going to be a long one. That one's going to be a therapy session. Okay, it's a little bit dark. It's a little bit spooky. It's very, very, Phoenix rising from the ashes. Not to humble brag on myself, but from where I came from in this career, my origin story is one that I'm so proud of. The reason why I'm so proud of it is 3 years ago when I started making videos on TikTok, 20-year-old, very scared paramedic. I was thrown into a service that truly did not treat me very well. When I say terrified paramedic, I mean I was terrified every single time those tones went off. When I started posting videos on TikTok, I wanted to create videos for people that were just like me. I never wanted people to go through the feelings that I was going through, being scared, being anxious, and feeling alone. I started making videos on TikTok to build that voice that I did not have, that no one had for me. No one had my back 3 years ago. I started a series called Medicated and Motivated. It was a series where I talked about the drugs on an ambulance, so patients were not scared to give them, but providers were not scared to receive them. And that is what gave me my platform. That is how people found me. That is how my TikTok following started. Truly, without that series, I would not only have the confidence, but I would not have the foundation of this beautiful community on my social medias that I have today. So, in honor of that 20-year-old paramedic that did not know where she would be in 3 years, she was terrified, she was anxious, and she was anything but confident. This one's for her. Welcome to Medicated and Motivated, the podcast. I hope you stick around. I hope you enjoy the show. And most importantly, have a good shift.